Why did you get sick? Hey friends, I'm Angela Gasper and I am made to heal, and so are you. So I'm a made to heal coach and I desire to see you obtain your healing just as I did also. So from my experience, why did I get sick? Why did you get sick? It is a problem we got overloaded with toxins and underloaded with nutrition. So basically, our body became so toxic, and at the same time, we weren't bringing in enough nutrition to actually heal. So eventually, we had a collapse. Eventually, we got sick. An organ began to dysfunction, whatever, maybe digestive issues started to happen, maybe rashes started to happen. Whatever it was, we eventually started getting sick. And we had symptoms, and then more symptoms piled up, and then more symptoms piled up until eventually we began to get a diagnosis. And then eventually we got multiple diagnoses, and then usually after that comes the big diagnosis of cancer, which leads to death usually. But it doesn't have to be that way, friends. We're here today talking because it doesn't have to be that way. You were made to heal. I was made to heal. We were made in the very image of God. We're designed by God. We were made to heal. We were even given His mind. Friends, our DNA, our spiritual DNA is perfect. So we just need to tap into that and heal. So what I've been using, what we've been talking about all week or all month, really, and you can go back and look at past videos if you want to learn a little bit more in depth. Today's just a summary of what we've been dealing with over the last month. So we've been talking about the healing triangle. The healing triangle has 3 legs. All 3 legs are necessary, but there is a specific order that the legs come in. They're essentially all at the same time being used, but it starts with leg 1 of seeking. We've got to start somewhere, right? So it starts with leg 1 of seeking. So seeking, when we've gotten sick, there's something there that's not serving us. So we need to seek. We need to seek. Our body's telling us something. So we need to start seeking. What does that mean? What is our body telling us? That symptom of pain, it's telling us something. And so we're seeking. We're seeking for new directions. We're seeking for instructions with things that we can change. Things that, there's the universal law of sacrifice. That means you give up something that's not serving you in expectation of replacing it with something that will serve you, something greater with greater value. So this is ultimately the whole process, the whole healing triangle. It's summed up right here in that. There's also the universal law of sowing and reaping. So what you sow, you're going to reap. And so if you're sowing bad seeds into your body of health, well, it's actually bad seeds of like death, toxicity. You're going to reap that. But if you're sowing healthy seeds, then you're going to reap health. So these universal laws work for us. They work for our health. They work for our finances. They work for our life. They work. God made everything just so cool. And you like knit together in such a cool fashion. Absolutely love Him. So seeking, it all starts with, what do you want? If you look at the New Testament, when Jesus walked around doing miracles, he often asked, what do you want? And if someone said, well, Lord, I'm blind and my knee hurts, but I just want the blindness taken care of, that's all they would have gotten. Their knee would have still hurt. What do you want? Do you want to be wholly healed? I mean, that's what Jesus died on the cross for. Our whole health. To be set free from anything that's holding us back. That means that irritating knee pain can be healed. So what do you want? You've got to start seeing it inside your heart. You've got to start knowing it. You've got to have a knowing. It's got to be so clear. What do you look like? What are you wearing? What are you doing? Do you have energy? Is your hair even full of life and strength? Or is it dry and brittle still? Is your thyroid functioning? Is your heart functioning? What do you want, friends? What do you want? You've got to see it. That's part of seeking. That's part of seeking, because it's going to create, faith is creating the end, or creating the story from the end. You got to see it from the end, and so that you can work that way towards it. You got to know what you're working towards. So that's faith. We've got to hold on to it. We've got to grab hold of it, post it, draw it, write it, whatever it is, however you work, get it out there. Know what you believe. So then once you know it, once you see it, you got to look for those instructions, because they're going to come to you. You're going to have a knowing. Something's going to pop up on your maybe your email, or maybe on your internet searching, and you're just going to have this aha moment. This is for me. This is for me. I got to at least try it. You just have this internal knowing that, okay, this is good. And hopefully you'll get it off from my feed. Hopefully you're following me, and you'll get some of that off from what I'm teaching you, because I'm always sending out little nuggets of the things that actually worked for me, and what took me from bedbound to healthy. So, okay, so next is we've got to start getting rid of those things that didn't serve us, that don't serve us, that caused us to get sick in the first place. Our lifestyle, our habits, our foods, all that stuff, we got to reevaluate, because what got us there is not going to get us to health. You might be able to bring a few things along the way, but in general, what got you sick is not going to be able to come with you on your journey to health. So again, it goes with the universal law of sacrifice. You got to give up something now of lower value to give up something of greater value. I've told you about my story about pop. I was just starting on my health journey. I had absolutely no clue that pop was bad for me. Pop is horrible for you. If you drink it now, stop drinking it immediately. It's terrible for you. It destroys your digestive system. It causes you, whether it's diet or not diet, regular, it shuts off your ability to recognize if you're hungry or not. So it ultimately causes you to gain weight. It destroys your cellular structures. So your cells get hardened and don't accept nutrients very well. So it does a ton of damage. But I didn't know that. And I had this little nudging inside that I needed to get rid of my pop. And honestly, I wish I would have started researching it sooner, because I would have found those things that I just told you about it, how it ultimately destroys the body completely. And there's no nourishment in it whatsoever. And And also the carbonation is made in such a way that it pulls the calcium from your bones. So it creates osteoporosis. Holy moly. I mean, have you noticed there's like an epidemic, a pandemic of osteoporosis as we age? So if I would have looked into that so much sooner, then I would have known it, but I didn't. And it took me 3 years to stop drinking pop. 3 years. So, because I thought that the Lord was taking something. I knew that the nudging was the Lord. I knew he was speaking to me, but I didn't understand why a good God would take something that tasted so good. But he understood that it was not serving me. And so eventually I gave it up. And you know what? So much greater came to me after I gave it up. So much more knowledge came to me. So much more nutrition came to me. My gut started healing. So much better started flooding to me. It was so worth it. Like God was not trying to take something from me. So we've got to be willing to detoxify these habits, these even our mindsets. Are you telling yourself how ugly you are? Are you telling yourself how much you hate that you're sick? Are you telling yourself how worthless you are? Friends, these mindsets are counterproductive. These mindsets, see, God spoke us into being when he created us. So we were created through words and through vibration. And when we're created in his image, that's part of our image. So when we speak against it or think against it, these thoughts, we're actually disconnected with the Lord. Like we're disconnected with who he made us to be. So it's so important, and we're literally creating disease and disintegration with those thoughts. So what are you thinking? What are you telling yourself? What are you criticizing about yourself? Start loving yourself. Start learning who God created you to be. Start getting reconnected with who he designed us to be. He gave us his mind. It says that we have the mind of Christ. We're able to think his thoughts. We're able to get in alignment. So detoxify these thoughts. Detoxify lifestyle, habits, all of this stuff. Keep following me. Come on this journey with me on what these habits could be that need to be detoxified. Because if our bodies are too toxic, there's a point where we become so toxic that we can't receive the nutrients that we're trying to intake. That's horrifying, friends. That there's a point where we're so toxic that we're not able to receive. So it goes with that law. You got to give up something to get something better. So we've got to give up this nastiness to get the nutrients. So leg 1 was seek. Leg 2 was detoxify. You got to start being open to what you need to detoxify from your life. Even if it's your favorite foods, potentially they're not serving you. What if they're not serving you? Be open to it, because something better will come along. And then third is nutrify. We got to nutrify ourselves. We got to add that nutrition. So I say third because yes, you have to detoxify. You have to start detoxifying, but you're also essentially doing it at the same time. You do start with detoxifying so that your cells can start receiving, but then you're doing everything all at once. You're learning more stuff, and then you're taking out the bad that's not serving you, and then you're adding in the good. So you're ultimately doing it all at the same time. But you got to get the nutrition in, because that rebuilds our cells. Think about it. The way God made us is our body is built, our cells die and then we make new cells. And that cycle is happening constantly. And if we have toxic cells, new cells are going to be even more toxic and even more weak and even just more lacking of nutrition. So we've got to get the nutrition in fast. So it's time that we learn about nutrition. It's time that we take that next step and heal. This is how we heal, friends. This is how we heal. So, and like I said, keep following, because I will continue to talk about ways that we can nutrify, so we can detoxify. One of the big things is with going through my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. But before I move on, we have one life. It's our choice how we age. You know, a lot of Christians think that the devil is attacking them when they get sick. But typically it's not even that. He would love to take the credit, but typically it's not that the devil is attacking. Typically, we've done it to ourselves with our lack of knowledge, which really brings new meaning to Hosea 4:6. That says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." We're literally perishing, dying from these diseases because of a lack of knowledge. Most of our foods, processed foods, junk food, this stuff's not serving us. So we've got to gain that knowledge so that we can have life and have it abundantly, just as Christ designed for us, desires for us. It's ours, friends. It's achievable. We just have to relearn. We have to dig in. We have to take back our health. We're not dying because of a lack of a medication. We're dying because of a lack of nutrition. We live in such a wealthy country, so many resources, and so many of us choose to live a life lacking nutrients. It's time we wake up, friends. It's time we choose nutrition. It's time we learn what nutrition actually looks like. So, one of the things that has been a game changer in my life has been our water. So if you go to ewg.org, you'll be able to look up the water in your zip code. And whether you have city water or you have well water, the well water still comes from the same ground, same segment of earth as city water. So many of the chemicals are going to be very similar, even though the city does some of the processing and stuff and changes things a little bit. But still, you're going to have exposure to some of the same toxins. So take a look at your area code and look at what toxins you're being exposed to in your area. So for us, we knew that our water was bad. We are high on radon. We're high in several cancer-causing chemicals in our water. And so we tried reverse osmosis. We tried filtered water. We tried alkaline water. We tried purified water. You name it, we probably tried it. And one day we heard some doctors talking about how distilled water is the only way to get 99% of the chemicals, the toxins, out of the water. It's the only way. And think about it, it's God's natural way, because He takes the water, evaporates it into the clouds, and comes back down in rain form. And that's the way God intended for our water to be received. Obviously, there's thoughts about, the chemical exposure there, but I'm not suggesting you go out and drink rainwater. So, but not detoxification. Distillation is a really good way to go, because if you're drinking purified water and 94% of the chemicals are being removed, there's 6% of those chemicals you're still drinking every single day of your life. Water is the only thing we drink over and over and over and over. It's the only thing. And then when we shower in it too, we're absorbing some of those chemicals, which there's reasons to believe that you don't need to worry about that too much, but it is another consideration. But so if you're drinking the same toxins every day, and if you look at those toxins, the 4 in my area are all cancer promoting. Cancer promoting. Take a look at yours, ewg.org. What's it promoting? Is it promoting cancer? I would get rid of it. So distillation is the only way to pull out 99.9% of those chemicals. If they're cancer promoting, I don't want any of those in my water. So a lot of people say, well, what about the minerals? Distillation pulls out the minerals too. Yes, the minerals are left sitting around your sink. They're that white film. Those minerals are not usable. They won't go down the drain. They don't go through us either. They're not usable for our body. Think about it. Water is made to flush. It's made to flush out the toxins. It's made to flush us. We need it for good processes to go all the way through elimination. Water is meant to flush. It's not intended to nourish. We get mixed up in that. Water is not intended to nourish. That's what our food is for. That's what the plants are for. That's what our meat is for, is to nourish us with those minerals and vitamins and all of that. Our water is intended to flush. So if there's one big major health step you could do, I would get a distiller. So if you could look at my bio, I have one distiller that I recommend. If you don't want to go that route, that's totally fine. But make sure your distiller is not made with plastic, because plastic distillers heat up. They get hot. And so you don't want it to be plastic. You want it to all be stainless steel. So, because you don't want your distiller that you think is cleaning out your water to actually be making your new water more toxic. So it's all got to be stainless steel, glass, good products. So, but again, in my bio, I have my pure water, and I've got the link, and I've got a coupon code to help save you some money, because this, friends, is a game changer for your health. And again, remember, water is meant to flush. It's not meant to nutrify. It's intended to flush your body. So I hope that helps. I hope you walked away with some nuggets and just some little reminders. And then I'm hoping probably next week we'll start getting into some more details about how we can either detoxify or how we can nutrify. I'll keep praying about that and thinking about that, about what we're gonna do next. But healing triangle, gotta seek, gotta know what's right for you. You're the best health advocate for yourself. No one else cares about your health like you do. We've got to detoxify. That could be meaning to use the sauna or coffee enema, or it could just be simply getting rid of bad mindsets. Either way, what got us sick isn't serving us. And then we got to nutrify. Got to add that nourishment to those cells. We've got to replenish them. We got to make them soft again. That's where youth comes in. That's where aging backwards comes in, through nutrifying. We got to soften those cells again. So have a beautiful day. I would love to hear your comments below, and be sure to share this, friends. We're made to heal, and more people need to hear this. More people need to know. More people need to be empowered. for health. You're made to heal. So have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week.